Welcome back. So, when we left off our little clock example program, what we had was a little grey box in the lower left corner with black text on it. And you may think, well, that's fine. Of course, it only showed on the workspace on which it had been started. So I suppose you could switch to another workspace, start another instance, and so forth and so forth. But it's a bit clumsy. I wanted to show it on all workspaces. And since I used a standard blue background, I decided I wanted it to be in that same blue with white text on it. And let's see what it looks like now. And if you look very quickly, you saw that it started out as a normal window and then it applied all those things to it. So, does it exist on other workspaces? Yes. But in Haiku, we have this funny thing. Every workspace can have its own dimensions, its own pixel depth, its own refresh rate. What are we going to do about that? No problem. As you can see, this workspace is a different size, and the little widget that I wrote or that I adapted from the example program is exactly where it's supposed to be. Pretty cool, huh? So let's see how we did this. Okay, so the first thing you'll see is that this, where I look up the height of the desktop, I'm not just doing this once anymore in this program. I'm now doing it every time we go. We detect that the desktop dimensions have changed. And so I put that in its own subroutine, which is way at the bottom here. Everything I've done in this last session is in green. And by the way, where else but in Haiku can you do a thing like that? Think about that. And so I call up this subroutine at the beginning. Then we'll go over that quickly. I've put an extra bit of code here in my main loop. If, looking at the desktop height quickly, is unequal to y, remember that's the variable we set up to hold the desktop height, then get the desktop height again, and now move the window to the new position. And that's the end of the if loop. Right? So every time we go through the main loop, which is a lot of times, then we check if it has changed, and if it has not changed, then we do nothing. If we see that it has changed, then we move the window to where we want it. And it's still a window. You just can't see it anymore. Okay, how did we do that? Well, I had to experiment a little bit. First, I tried to use this command here. Now that's supposed to work. It didn't crash, but it didn't work either. So there's some kind of incompatibility between these various window settings. Not all combinations work. So instead of the old modal app setting, I change it to floating all. So this now makes it appear on all workspaces. There is one drawback to it. As you can see, it won't fade into the background when you move another program over it. I can live with that. Right, then next thing I did, I set the clock view's background color to the same blue that I use here on my desktop, which you can get there. '51, 102, 152. That is the standard default haiku view. Then I set the high color, the color that we're actually going to draw the text with, to white, 255, 255, 255. And that is pretty much it. So apart from this problem, who's to say that this is not a replicant? Okay, as always, if you want to download this and see if you can take it further, you can get it in the Git repository. Thanks for watching. Good night.